SnipingIsFun here, and today I'm going to be bringing you my review of the Super Nintendo version of Saturday Night Slam Masters. Now, if you been keeping up with my videos lately, you know that I was able to get a Super Nintendo from my neighbor, and I bought this and Sunset Riders with from Hot Hits alongside the game she gave me. And I decided when I got these games I was eventually going to review them, and tonight I'm going to review this, and then next I'm going to be reviewing Sunset Riders. And Saturday Night Slam Masters. I just have to say it's a I can't really put it in words, but it's a great wrestling game. It's an arcadey wrestling game that pretty much um, it has no real wrestlers in it, but you can pretty much tell that most of them are based off real wrestlers, and pretty much a lot of them were based off probably pretty much wrestlers around the time the game came out, which I think was 93, 94. So yeah, around that time with people from like WCW and WWF, probably in Japan as well, in Mexico. I'm sure the characters in the game are based off a lot of them, and probably some of them are based off characters from other Capcom games as well. And basically, it's just a great game. It's kind of like you could strike and you could run to the ropes. You could do grapple attacks by walking into your opponent and making sure you could tap the button before them. You could go do strike attacks. And I'm sure there's special moves for certain characters. I just don't know how to do them, or at least most of them. So basically, onto the gameplay. Like I said, it's just an arcade wrestling game that basically you do strike attacks and you do running attacks, diving attacks, basically, and try to. I don't know if you can make your opponent tap out, but you can pin them after you beat them up enough. And pretty much each character probably has their own special attacks. And there's a singles match and there's tag team battle royale. And singles is just one-on-one. Tag team battle royale is 2 versus 2. And then the graphics, the presentation game, it's actually quite a good designed Super Nintendo game. The art style in the game is just, I don't know, it's pretty good. The characters are designed pretty well. Each character looks different, and all the characters, there's a variety of characters, and pretty much just the style of the game. You've probably seen a lot of videos on here on YouTube, or if you played the game before, you would know. But basically, it's just interesting arcade-ish cartoon, not cartoon exactly, but like the Street Fighter style. It's kind of like designed like Street Fighter. It almost has a Street Fighter look to it in terms of graphics presentation. Now on to the sound. Every place you go to, there's about maybe 12 places or so in the game, ranging from Tokyo, Los Angeles, Mexico, and everything, depending on who you're facing as you go through the career, which is not really a career. It's like what Street Fighter is, where it takes you around the world and you just take on different opponents. Um, there's different musical places, and each character in the game has their own intro music and the announcer voice. So voice acting has some pretty good. The voice acting is more like just a generic announcer, like saying the 1, 2, 3 count and fight and all that stuff, like when the match starts. And the music, I actually like the music. It's pretty good. Um, the story, there's not really a story to the game except for going through the career and trying to win like the final match or so, pretty much. And that's just really what it is. The wrestling organization you're in is the CWA, which I'm sure stands for Capcom Wrestling Alliance or Wrestling Association or something like that. And you just go through the ranks, you just go through all the places and win at the end, which would probably mean winning the championship. So it's not really a story in the game, but the single player mode kind of is like rise to the ranks and beat all the contenders kind of thing. And after you do that, you just go through it over and over again until you finally fail enough times that end the game and have no continues. In the multiplayer, well, since I've had this game, I haven't played multiplayer, and I don't think I played multiplayer way back when I played the game, when I originally rented it back in the 90s. I don't know for sure, but from what I hear, the multiplayer is pretty good. You get to play with one-on-one or 2 versus 2, so I'm sure you can have that multi-tap thing for the Super Nintendo and play with 3 other people. which I think you can. I never had that, so I don't know if this game supports it, which I'm sure it would if it has a 2 versus 2 game. And basically, that's Sunset. Not sorry, I messed up. Saturday Night Slam Masters. I'm mixing it up because I'm doing both reviews tonight. Saturday Night Slam Masters. Um, it's a great game, and if you have a Super Nintendo, I would recommend you pick this up, no matter if you're a wrestling fan or not, because it's more of an arcadey wrestling game. You'd have fun with it, especially if you're a fan of Street Fighter. It's a fun wrestling game, like I said. It has good music. Every character has their own music. There's about 12 characters in the game. 2 characters are only playable when you do the tag team gauntlet, tag team battle royale thing. Scorpion and Jumbo, I think his name is. They're not playable in single player. I don't think. You probably unlock them. I don't know. I don't know. It's true. It's basically I heard it's a fun multiplayer game. I can't really say because I didn't play it since I got it, and I can't recall if I played it back then. It has a lot of interesting characters. Like I said, there's about 12 of them. Each of them plays mostly different. And, well, that's pretty much my review on Saturday Night Slam Masters. So in the end, I'll give the gameplay an 8.5 out of 10. The graphics, the presentation of the game, a 9.5 out of 10. The sound of the game, an 8.5 out of 10. The story of the game, very little in it though, 7.5, just because it's just generic, like, Street Fighter kind of like wrestling type thing, beat all the contenders. And the multiplayer game is, I'd give a 9 out of 10. So basically, in the end, I would give Saturday Night Slam Masters on the Super Nintendo an 8.6 out of 10, which would range between an 8.5 to 9. But 8.6, you could say about 8.5 to 9, but the official score based off the ones I gave in average would be an 8.6. And like I said, if you're a wrestling fan, I picked this up, and even if you're not a wrestling fan, it's not really a real wrestling game. It has fake characters based off probably some of them based off a wrestler, some of them based off Capcom characters like from Street Fighter and so on. It's a fun game, and I recommend it for anyone out there that has a Super Nintendo and Nintendo. Please bring this game out to the Wii Virtual Console. This and Sunset Riders. Yeah, I have them on Super Nintendo now, but I've been waiting so long for you guys to finally bring these there. I'm SnipingIsFun. I hope you guys like this review. Stay tuned for my Sunset Riders review coming up next.